Are you passionate about justice, public safety, and making a real difference in your community? Discover if a career in criminal justice is right for you. Join Dr. Mike Gurley, UTM's Criminal Justice Advisor, for an exclusive information session. Choose the date that works for you, Thursday, March 12th or Tuesday, March 17th, both at 6 p.m. Join via Zoom at zoom.us/j/975941063321. Meeting ID, 975-941063321. Passcode, 665412. Your future in criminal justice starts with one conversation. Don't miss it.
Oh yeah, the event. The event is coming tomorrow. Find out if that's the job for you. Welcome back, CJTV. Welcome back. Busy day. The rain is here. The cold is back for a short time. We need the groundhog back. Chloe, JJ, get the dog out. Find the groundhog. As JJ would say, big A groundhog. We need the big A groundhog back to see the sun in the classroom. Yeah, it was a pretty good day today. Had a busy day at Parsons, specific city. The chancellor showed up. What a surprise. Was not expecting that. Always cool to see him. He's cool. Cool as cool gets. Probably one of the coolest guys I've ever met. His wife's cooler. Yeah, I met her too. I met her a while back. She's cooler. She's way cool. Chancellor, she's way cooler than you. Way cooler. Anyway, welcome back. As of now, kind of a new update with our downloads on Mediafire with all of our shows, all of our research and academic venue for white paper, gray and non-gray. For those of you that know what gray is, it's a gray non-peer review based off of peer review, literature review, systematic literature review. We do some of that, but we do the non-gray too, which is a white paper for the APA version. I know it's confusing for some of those that are APA configured, which I understand, especially Chicago or Harvard for the medical field people. But it's a white paper or a APA 7th edition style with, a bunch of headings and a bunch of sections in it, because it's actually fully including true peer-reviewed data. It's not a white paper with something that has material that has no peer review. So there's that slight difference, just to clear that up. Why am I saying this? Because I got an email. Somebody had a question. Another scholar had a question about, the gray and the non-gray or not so gray. I know it's confusing, but it does exist. So as of now, 819 downloads. Yeah, I was kind of, inquisitive today and jumped on the Mediafire and did the trace, the inquiry on where they're going. Such countries as Yugoslavia, China, Brazil, Russia, Afghanistan, different countries on the continent of Africa, Canada, Portugal, all over, Poland, and they're going everywhere. So all of the main researchers, we have Z, which is in Florida. Z's not mentioned here right now because Z's busy. Z got a new job. Z's kind of slammed busy right now. Cool. I guess that degree paid off. What's up now? Slow burn. Yep. It's a good stream tonight. It's a real good stream. Real good one. Not what people would think, though. Not the topic that people would want to argue or perceive that we're, the direction we're going in. Because it's not the direction we're going in. It's pure what? Scholarly and academic. Now, can it be applied to things that are happening in society or sociology or worldwide? Sure. But 819 downloads, 11,534 views. That's a lot of views, guys. That's a lot of views. And there are some platforms I have not even looked at yet, to be honest with you, because, the universities keep everybody busy and the scholars. Yeah, slow burn. Jacob, look at that. Jacob from Jackson. JJ. Yeah, JJ. I can't call you JJ because, I've got another Big A JJ with big A topics. That's a side thing. Talk to JJ Miller. He'll tell you. That's probably going to be a future researcher. If it's not, me and JJ are going to talk. Anyway, tonight's episode, The Terrorist Mind. Now, it's not what you think. We're not talking about religion. We're not talking about global conquest or the war that is not a war. We kind of covered that the other night. War has not been declared since the year of 1942. Everything is a Senate argument or an operation or something combined with the Senate to agree with the president to go operational. That's a whole new topic for another show. But the terrorist mind, the science behind rehabilitation. Now, this was an odd topic. It was a scholar request, and it was a deep scholar research. And when I say deep scholar research, I mean the scholars that put forth information on this thing were busy. So we do not just have a literature review. We have in this one, and I'll go ahead and kind of bring it up because I know some people that download the actual topics, you know, the research that we have, sometimes they're a little bit confused of, you know, what the literature review is, a systematic literature review, but this is a narrative literature review, just to kind of give everybody a quick browse. And I'm going to switch screens right here so everybody can kind of give a look here. It's going to be a narrative literature review. It's pretty detailed and it's pretty antiquated with protocol. And it's going to have a lot of protocol in it that a lot of people are not used to when it comes to literature review, systematic and or narrative and or meta-analysis. And I'm saying all of this for the scholars, okay? I know somebody in society saying, why is this guy talking about all these words that I don't understand that sound cool and, you know, flatulistic, you know, big fart words that nobody would care about. But this is an academic show. And if anybody's got a question, feels, you know, that they need the answers to, send an email out to one of the researchers. They're up in the top right there, you know, Dylan McDonald, Chloe Hensley, they'll understand. They'll be able to break it down, or, you know, send it in the ticker to me right here, drmikeleeg@gmail.com. We'll send that, you know, the actual breakdown to you of what it is. Well, let's get on with the actual show here and get this stuff rolling. The documentation will be released tomorrow, I promised, but we have to do a thorough review for all of those academics to make sure there's no conflict in the research. Credibility, validity, reliability, and past peer review set precedent. The chat is open. Give me a 5 and a 5 or a thumbs up if the video and the audio is good. I don't want to crowd the chat with, hey, the audio is good. Understanding what drives people to terrorism. It's the simple overview of this show. We're not talking about religious terrorism. We're not talking about emphatic terrorism or, you know, any ideology or edict or rhetoric, anything that anybody would perceive. It's just the simple act of terror itself. Terrorism. It can be a venue of religion, political, oppressive, fear through power, power through fear, to get submission to a belief, an ideology, a political venue, etc. But we're just covering the spectrum of terrorism, period, end of story. So do not think we're going specifically toward a religion, specifically toward a political venue, specifically toward a specific group. Don't think that. But we're going to be in a little bit detail about the why, the when, the how, period. It's academic. We're going to explore psychological mechanisms, all right, behind the radicalization, breaking complex academic research into digestible terms and insights, simplicity terms to where society is going to understand this. Why ordinary people become terrorists. Number one, the mental health, the myth, the old narrative, popular assumption that all terrorists must be psychologically disturbed, suffering some mental illness or some dilapidation, you know, the TBI syndrome, the biometallurgical syndrome from a TBI, traumatic brain injury, that caused mental illness, or genetic, or they're just plain old, you know, people that are evil and want to watch the world burn. That's the old mentality, all right? Even during GWOT, everybody, you know, the 20-plus year war, global war on terror, which was not a declaration of war, mind you. It was not. Do your own research. Congress did not sign it with the president, George Bush Jr., to go to war. It wasn't signed that way. So the hostility, the evil, one would think a comparison to the mental illness of a psychopath, somebody with a mania, somebody that's a serial killer. Interesting topic. We have female serial killers coming up here real soon. That's a pretty intriguing one. But no, they're not all mentally insane. The research, the reality. Now, research in this area is very limited, and it's going to be noted in our, publication or in our narrative literature review for release. So it's a systematic review in research. When you research terrorist events, terrorists that have been interviewed, terrorists that are in custody and in rehabilitation. Yes, rehabilitation. We're going to cover that too, specific countries and programs and platforms. It's not just a diagnosable thing. Rhetoric, edict, transition, the information, the radicalization. It's not diagnosable. How did you radicalize yourself on not liking vanilla ice cream? How did you radicalize yourself on not liking every dog in the world because you got bit by an angry chihuahua or an applehead chihuahua? I mean, radicalization, different perspectives. I know it's an odd cliche and an odd comparison. It's kind of the same equality of a victim of a sexual assault. Tell me what happened, and enters the emotion from the victim. Well, that's not what we asked for. It's the radicalization of society that emotion is first and forefront. The perceptive emotions that change the psychological profile. Rational choice theater, rational choice theory. Yes, I said rational choice theater. The act, the believe, me. What actually drives terrorism in society? Now, I know somebody's going to say, I know what drives it. No, you don't. No. It's a social connection. It's the identity of a singular person, the identity of seeking one's identity, especially those with low self-esteem, low self-worth, those that have been corrupted emotionally by society, abused, corrupted psychologically by society. It's the group dynamic, too. Think of the gangs. Why does one join a gang? The love. I know it's a crime in, beat in, sex in. It's pain. It's psychologically diminished. But sometimes those that join the gangs, that join the terrorist groups, the cells, the organizations, they're not psychologically impaired. It's a group dynamic. It's a perceived grievance against the sociological order or an incident, a trauma incident, an ideological commitment to psychopathology. Psychopathology, yes. What drives a person to change? Much like a religion, what drives a person to change religions? Oh my gosh, that's a harsh question, isn't it? Why did someone leave Christianity and go to Buddhism? Why did one leave Catholicism and go to Islam? Why does one believe that the Archangel Gabriel was scared of a puppy? I know somebody's saying, why did this guy just say this? Do your own research. Straight in the Quran from Muhammad himself. That's why somebody needs to read a Quran, a real one. As I said, we're not getting into the aesthetics of it, but these things matter. The misunderstanding, the root causes that lead to ineffective counterterrorism strategies focused on mental health screening rather than the social intervention. Everybody wants to screen these terrorists. Great. Okay, we got it. Yeah, they're terrorists. They've done evil things, killed people, hurt people, participated pre, copious after, accessory before, accessory after, aiding in the mens rea, aiding in the actus rea. But, the mental health factor. Everybody wants to look at the mental health factor. Was Charles Manson, lunatic, crazy? He's got the Charles Manson stare, the Jeffrey Dahmer twinkle. No. The social interventions. The majority of society has a social intervention that has pushed them to an extremist point of view. Look at politics. Look at the government. Look at Iran. Do your own research. Hillary Clinton said the same thing that Donald Trump said about Iran. Do your own research. Immigration. President Obama said the same thing President Trump said about illegal immigration. It's the nuance error, the infatuation, the nuance. While some individuals may have a simple mental health issue that has nothing to do with terrorism, there's not a lot of primary predictors of terrorist theology. The push, the drive, the want for terrorism involvement with different groups and cells. There's not a lot of theology out there. There's not a lot of scholarly research out there that proves this. There's not a terrorist genetic gene. There's not a neurotransmitter. There's not a neutron transmission that is being blocked by a fluff of a brain cell. Doesn't exist. It's sociological. Why do you buy a Ford versus a Chevy? Sociological. Grandpa said this. Well, Grandpa said if it's not broke, don't fix it. Don't fix the Ford. Don't fix the found on the road dead, or the one that is first on race day. Who knows? The sociological ideology. There's not a primary predictor for terrorism or the involvement. Treating terrorism as a mental problem stigmatizes mental illness and misuses or misidentifies the social political context of it all. Now, when I say it misidentifies or misuses the social political context of it all, it's called evasion. It's called dissuade. It's called deflective, because politics, religion, terrorism, 2026, think of the past century. They've all been tied together sociologically by the media, social media, the government, executive, judiciary, legislative. It's all been tied together. But there's no one who's actually put that finger on radicalization. No one. It's kind of like a trigger on a weapon. It's a piece of metal on a platform, a gun, a rifle, a shotgun. Unless the trigger is squeezed, unless you got a, faulty SIG that's made in the United States, not from the two other manufacturers overseas, but in the United States. Yes, I said it, Shipley. Bad gun. Yep, Shipley, I said it. Bad gun. But manufacturer, the ideology, the edict. How are we going to manufacture something? How are we going to instill an ideology of terrorist activity in society and evade society and keep recognition of the root cause from society? Radicalization is society. If you didn't have social media, if you didn't have cell phones, if you didn't have mass interaction, you wouldn't have the mass way of terrorism. It's kind of like the Mujahideen, the Ottoman Empire. Didn't have cell phones, wasn't as predominant, but it was still recognizable. Look at the Marine Corps, the shores of Tripoli, the halls of Montezuma, the first conflict with the United States and the Ottoman Empire with captured Navy sailors and sunken boats. People think this is a new thing. It's been happening since the Ottoman Empire. The United States wasn't involved in it. Press the issue. Why are you capturing and holding our sailors as prisoners? The Ottoman Empire, the Islamic side of it, historical venue. Now, sociologically over time, the United States recognizes, yes, there is a terrorist threat out there against us, even though we're a brand new country in late 1700s. I think it was that 1782, 1780s. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not 100%, sure on that. That would be the definition of the Marine Corps leathernecks. Literally leather on the neck to keep the swords from cutting the neck from ship to ship fighting. Yeah. The push of society to heighten what is really happening. Let's see what we got in the comment here. Slow burn. So does terrorism stem from grooming similar to how cults and gangs operate, or do people self-radicalize, or is it individual to each person? That's a lot of questions, and that's a lot of directions in one simple statement. But to close all of that into one simplistic answer, no one's put a trigger on it. No one's put a button on it. You can compare self-radicalization to someone who is seeking something. Someone joining a gang, someone joining a cult. It's just not there for them. The breakdown. And we're going to kind of get into this, that aesthetic of it here on this show. We're going to try to cover as much as we can because I know it's a hot topic and somebody's going to hear this and read it and want to watch it. But cults, gangs, it's recruitment. One would say the weak-minded. One would say the mentally ill. But no one wants to say the mentally disturbed through victimization, mentally disturbed through abuse, home abuse, developmental. Who out there has those strict ideological religious parents? You can't do this, you can't do that. You know, is it Ramadan yet? Am I 18? Well, excuse me, not Ramadan, but Roshlinger. What is it in there's a TV show about that. It was a comedy show. Yep, the identity crisis. Individual, each person has their own identity. What is one seeking? Is one seeking placement, self-worth, self-resilience to survive, companionship, to fit in? Society wants to fit in. That's why all of you have specific sports you like. You hang out with the people that like the same sports you like. You go to the same clubs. You go to the same bars. You go to the same academic venues. You go to the same concerts. You're radicalized in specific things that do not promote violence, aren't violent as, aesthetically this is what the group does. But you're radicalized and you're stigmatized into a specific mental illness and or a mental way of thinking. Yes, I said you're stigmatized into a specific mental illness because if you're radicalized into a function with a group of people that do things that are self-harming, drugs, narcotics, out till 2 and 3 and 4 a.m. at the bar, drinking it up, what good are you doing to the family, the community, for yourself? Well, you're radicalized in self-harm, self-terrorism, self-destructive manners. Hope that kind of helped you out there a little bit, Slow Baron, Jacob. Now that I know who you are, can't call you JJ. Got another JJ. The vulnerability window and the search for meaning. The identity crisis. Kind of going off what, Slow Baron asked. Many terrorists are young people, period, done over. They're young. The ones out there doing the action. You don't see any of the old schoolers. They understand. It's new. It's easy to influence. It's kind of like tell me what happened versus the direct actions of what happened, and someone enters emotion. You find the trigger. You find the linguistic value. You find the emphasis on ease of radicalization, the words. Join my gang. It's better than this gang because of A, B, C, or D. The influx, the linguistics, the pressure, the experienced existential voids that one can recognize. There's a void in one's life, so all I have to do is fill that void. Then I can radicalize them into my mentality. I can show them that the disconnect from society. I can show them where the one who's in need, that is easy to be radicalized, transitioned, changed. I can show that one person the disconnect from traditional social structure, to pull them away from family, to pull them away from religion, or push them into a new religion, or simply pull them away from community. What do we call that with the ones that are self-terrorists? Drinking, alcohol, abuse, domestic violence, self-abuse, drugs, in the gym, taking steroids, we call that what? Intervention. We can do it there in society, but someone who has fallen prey to radical extremism through crisis identity, the voluntary window, nobody wants to see it that way because everybody sees it as violence. I know it's a tricky question. Are you radicalized in a specific venue of thought in society? Are you radicalized in a specific ideology, edict, rhetoric? Those. The Constitution, the one cover all. If it's in the Constitution, that's it. It's set. It's done. If the Supreme Court says it, it's law. No. Constitution is ever changing, ever breathing, ever shifting. Each state has its own constitution. There's the 9th Amendment. The Constitution doesn't cover everything. 12 angry dudes with wooden teeth did not perceive the internet. 12 angry guys with wooden teeth did not perceive conflicts of today. So how do you say it's law? It's the final. No, it's the foundation. It's the bedrock. It's the set precedent. It's the reliability. ever-changing breathing document. Thus, we have the Supreme Court to keep the president in check, to keep Congress in check, to keep the judicial and legislative venue in check. Overreach. Now, this guy's arguing the vulnerability window of executive judicial power, terrorism, and period of life transition. It applies. Period of sociological transition. Man, the vulnerability window. Is it easier to target an immigrant that's unemployed, relationship, family breakdown, away from their family who's stuck in another country, creating openings for that extremist recruitment? We'll take care of you. We know what you need. That psychological problem, that systematic comparison of things that are missing in your life. It sounds like an intervention, doesn't it? Hey, John, you're our nephew, but we know you have an alcohol or a narcotic problem. And the family intervenes, because technically it's a self-harm. Self-harm. Well, they're not harming other people. How many drunk drivers kill people on the highway every day? How many people commit violent crime that are on illicit drugs, illegal drugs, Schedule 1 through 5 drugs? Nobody's arguing that is a terrorism problem. It's a good argument and a good comparison. But everyone would say, well, if you look at the legislative word of law, what defines terrorism, you can find flaws in that all day long. You can find flaws in the breakdown, the set precedent, the reliability, the argument of it. Even in the United States, the vulnerability window, the relationship breakdown of executive, judicial, legislative review, judicial decision. What about the executive enforcement? Still can't get over that one thing that I saw with that sheriff, and I don't know if that was a sitting congressman or a state rep. He was just as bad as the sheriff was. Identity fusion. Now let's explain identity fusion. The fuse, all right? The unique psychological state where the personality, the identity completely merges with the group identity and the boundaries between me and we. It dissolves. It's gone. There is no me. There's no M and E, me and the team anymore. The we, the group, the us. It's gone. It's the ideology. It's the fusion. Now you're part of it. No one needs to question. You're part of it now. It's like the gang. You're there. You're in. Hard in. Or what? Easy in. Hard out. You're in. It's the prototype that everybody's looking for. It is. Think about this. The relationship, the sex, the love, the intimacy, the porn star in the bedroom, the finance, the money. You want the beauty king. You want the beauty queen. You want the prom king, the prom queen. Please don't get sick. Please don't go to the hospital. The vows. Through sickness and in health. It's the prototype. Everybody wants that. The identity fusion. The bond. The connection. Am I choosing the right school? Am I watching the right podcast? Well, if you're wanting to learn something about terrorism and sociological rehabilitation, sure, and how it applies to terrorism. But if you want to watch, what's going on abroad with, projectiles flying and doing this and that, then maybe not so much. Individuals become willing to make extreme sacrifices. Yeah, you're going to cut things out. What's the difference between someone who has a company or a business to help people lose weight, look sexy? Yeah, the gym. Exercise your right to look good. Exercise your right to hurt too. The insults, the derogatory, the down. Yeah, we've got crisis intervention from you. Why? Because you're fat. We got crisis intervention for you because you're not as healthy as the superstar who's running the show. You must adapt. I know, it's hard. It's hard to comprehend and fuse together. Extreme measures. It's kind of like going to the Veterans Administration Hospital, the VAH, not the, Veterans Administration. The VA, the hospital. They'll throw pills at you. They won't find the problem, but they'll throw some medication at you to help control the symptoms of the problem, but they will not recognize the problem. That's a government issue. Why? It costs money. Terrorism. Keeping the veterans still injured and sick. Yeah. How many times you've ever heard a veteran say that before? And this one does, because this one has watched it firsthand. And threw a little forensic mediological terminology out there to shut down the doctors and make them question themselves. Yeah, I did it. They hate me. I know. The VA hates Dr. Gurley. That's cool. It's all good, though. But it's the prototype of what everybody wants, that pristine measure. And if you don't think that someone in society who is missing, they have that existential void, the essence of wanting to belong, self-resilience is diminished now. Self-worth, simple bearing, gone. Got to find it. Once we find it, the me and the we are gone. Now the prototype is complete. Extremism, they're there. They're not going anywhere. Radicalization, it's in stone, like the Constitution, right? Hard to break, hard to argue. Extreme sacrifices, including death. Yes, you hear everybody, you hear, I wouldn't want to say everybody, but you hear some people say, I would die for my religion. There are some people on the planet that will help you on that path. Send you to God, send you to Allah, send you to Jehovah, based on the fusion of the identity, the merge of one. The me and the we were gone. Because protecting the group becomes synonymous with protecting the self. The group. Damage the group, damage oneself, damage oneself, damage the group. Why not? The military does it all day long. You could be a, Rainbow, Rocky Seal, door gunner, Martian killer, Space Force guy with the Space Force Special Recon Ranger Group Bat Team Red Fox 5. You're only as fast as the slowest guy. You're only as strong as the weakest team member. You're only as healed as the doc, medic, TECC, or TCCC, or trauma. Wow, look at that. Even the military does it. The synonym of one becomes protecting the group, and protecting the group comes down to the exemplar of enforcing the rule of ideology of the team, the group, into the one to combine all the ones together to make the group. How many times you've ever heard it argued that way? I know, we're not talking about, specific religious groups, terrorist groups, this group, that group. We're talking about the terrorism aspect, the extreme, the push, the mechanism. Yeah, the mechanism. I'm not talking about your local mechanic. The mechanism. The extremist groups, all of them, prefer clear answers. Hate to break it to you. It's kind of like the Quran, 9:2, the sword. Everybody likes to throw that one out there. But yet, it's kind of like the Bible. You throw the one verse out, but you skip the whole chapter, the whole paragraph. You skip everything. You throw the one out there without understanding. Extreme groups prefer clear, clean-cut answers. It's kind of like the direct answer of all of you would want. The purpose, the brotherhood, the heroism, the stories. There's no historical venue unless there's a story. Think about your own lineage, your own story. Well, there's stories about Grandpa fighting a grizzly bear. Yeah. There are stories about this happening. There are stories about my heritage, the migration, the immigration, the fight, survival, the establishment of the family in the city, the town. That is why you have United States citizens that were legally migrated here that are 100% against illegal immigration, illegal migration. Because of the stories, the sacrifice, the hit, the heroism, the brotherhood, the sisterhood, the family, the fusion. Now it's not a me or we, it's us, America. We're Americans now. Pride, privilege, self-worth, just the demeanor is just astronomically big now. The bearing, the identity. Powerful antidotes to feeling insignificant, strong antidotes. Oh, you want that fix to the direct problem. I've got cancer. How do we fix it? I've got a brain problem. How do I fix it? Let's not throw pills at it. Let's not throw a Band-Aid on a laceratative injury. Let's not throw a Hello Kitty Band-Aid on a giant incised cut from a butcher knife. We're not looking for that. We're looking for the feeling of significance. Those powerful antidotes, cut away like cancer and dead flesh, the insignificance of the person. The person now is completely merged. They're fused in. It's a tight vortex. Kind of like Star Trek, right? The Borg. What is it called? Assimilation, the Borg. We are Borg. Borg. Yeah, it's kind of that way. The real world application. Interventions. Here we go again. Interventions. Little Johnny's got a crack addict. Bob's got an alcohol problem. So-and-so's got a porn problem. So-and-so's got a this problem. So-and-so's got that problem. Intervention must address and identify the needs, offering alternatives, sources, the meaning of the belonging. Well, if society misses the intervention, what do you think's going to happen? The fusion, the prototype is going to happen somewhere else. Somebody else is going to pick up on it. So what does that tell you? It's a sociological problem. It's not a religious problem. It's not a governmental ethic problem. It's not, I hate this senator, or I like this congressman or congresswoman, or I don't like this opinion or that opinion. It's nothing to do with it. It's the real world adaptation, the sources of the meaning of belonging. If we can miss intervention for those that are self-harming, what do you think is being missed for those that are being radicalized or looking for the belonging? That is why you have rich families that migrate from other countries. Let's take New York. The incident that happened in New York with the guy that, threw the IED. Family's got some money, got the big house. Migrated, immigrants, here, got the big house, the good jobs, the money. The guy couldn't lift a 20-pound dumbbell if he had to. Yes, I'm saying it. You can see the pictures of it. I deadlift a lot. This guy, I'm telling you right now, this guy couldn't bench press, his own body weight if he had to. Probably could halfway. It's kind of like the old military thing. You do it 10 times, you own it. You can do it forever, as long as you stay in shape. No. Where's the self-resilience? Where's the self-reliance? Self-esteem, the belonging. It's kind of like when one's argued that those that are from the terrorist groups come into the United States and become westernized. Oh, the fusion has now happened at a sociological venue. The money, the videos, social media, the porn, the movies, the jobs, the cars, the freedom. Do what you want to. No restrictions. Yeah. LGBTQ. Go overseas. LGBTQ hung upside down from bridges. Killed. United States. Big topic. Just like the military LGBTQ. The military is not a social experiment. Hate to break the news to you. Actually, no, I don't. That's the reality of it. It's not a social experiment. It's to protect the nation by means of war and combat. Sometimes when those that want to harm you, the only way to stop it is to harm them before they harm you, especially when the threats have made and the actions have been exhibited in the past. Since the Ottoman Empire, United States Navy, 1775, U.S. Marine Corps, Leathernecks. And it's not the Bulldog, people. It's the Doberman, the official combat fighting, fangs and teeth. Everybody thinks it's the Bulldog. It's just the mascot. That's not the official fighting, killing dog of the Marine Corps. Yeah, society. The social media. Yeah, the radicalization online. Yep, the dum-dum box, the TV. Even for some of you that watch this on your phone, or some of you that put it on the big screen so you can see this guy on the big screen. Some of you see it on the big screen in class. You never know. You're like, I get enough of it through the day. The digital battlefield, the button pusher, the AI, the virtual you. Yep, the internet has transformed recruitment into a physical virtual reality. It's a virtual space. Don't need to see anybody anymore. You're allowing global reach with the touch of a finger. Global reach with minimal resources. You can pick up your phone right now and have a conversation with somebody overseas in an area that's supposed to have diminished internet. You can still do that, or get the message to them if you know their friends or have the contacts. Click of a button. It's the virtual life. It's the digital battlefield of this decade, this century. And it's easy to recruit. It's easy to identify. All you have to do is open up Facebook. Yeah, open up your social media platform and you can identify those that are in need, those that one would think are crazy, those that one would think are mentally ill. They're targets. They're being looked for. They're being found. And you're looking at it and laughing and giggling at it while somebody who wants an extremist recruitment under a fit in, we will fuse you, they're going to take it. While you poke a finger at it and look at it and walk by, kind of like the pirate ship burning in the Gulf of America, as I've said before, it just goes right by. You missed it. The new recruitment tools. Extremists use memes. Yeah, memes. Little pictures. It's kind of like GWAT, you know. Extremists, terrorists, communicated through Xbox, PlayStation. Yes, PlayStation, Xbox, playing games. The secret space of hiding. Yep, still happens to this day. It's kind of like mom and dad. Put the kid down in front of the new Grand Theft Auto. Let the kid learn how to shoot, carjack, drugs, narcotics, porn, prostitution, how to be abusive. Is what it is. Give me a thumbs up in the chat. Let me know if the chat's working. Let me know. I know, not the favorite topic in the world for people because they would rather see bombs and rockets and missiles fly through the air and watch the cool shows that cover the news all over again. We don't do that here. The new recruitment tool, Twitch streams, Discord servers, especially the locked up Discord servers. Got to have that account, got to have that key, got to be invited in, got to be allowed in. Because if you're not in the fusion, we don't need to talk to you. It's kind of like the online gambling communities. Oh, let's intervene in that. Oh, but that's not as bad as terrorism. How many people have been killed because of gambling? Because of debt? Let me see. We got a chat disconnect. Please wait while we reconnect you on YouTube. Somebody give me something on YouTube, but let me know if the chat is up and going. Because we're on Rumble, we're on YouTube, and we're on X. Yeah, YouTube's glitching, crapping out. As typical. That's the YouTube thing. That's what YouTube does. I'm thinking about main platforming off of Rumble or X and just feeding to YouTube. I tried that once. It worked great. The new recruitment tools, social media, online, the new grooming, vulnerability. It's easy to find someone. It's easy to find those ones, especially on Twitch, the younger generation, the video game players, the ones that are picking the extreme games. Ask a question, get an answer. It's kind of like tell me what happened, and someone includes emotion. It's easy to pick up on. Do you need a fit? Can I find the algorithm in you since you're on something that is an algorithm platform? The social media algorithms are designed for engagement, just like this is. Just like this. 819 downloads, 11,534 views in 72 days. I guess it's doing okay somewhere. The algorithm, the social media algorithm, engagement. Yep. Inadvertility to promote increasing extreme content. The users, the free speech, the talk. Why do you think there are social media platforms that are developed more geared toward open free speech to where you can't get blocked, kicked off, demonetized? It's there. It amplifies the narrative of linguistic value. It amplifies the ideology. It amplifies the rhetoric. It amplifies the edict. Do you not think there are alcoholic groups? Do you not think there... Did you guys know there are YouTube channels on Rumble channels and other channels to where people review alcohol? It's like being a movie critic, but it's an alcohol critic, and they literally get hammered in the live stream or in the video. Anybody ever see Drunken History? That show that came on cable? Yeah, people literally sit down and get hammered with alcohol and recall their knowledge on history. I watched a few episodes of it, and I'll be honest with you, it was great. It was hilarious. It was funny, but those people are in need of an intervention, an algorithm salvation problem. The echo chamber effect of the algorithm of social media. The online spaces create information bubbles. Information bubbles. You're in the specific bubble of the information that people want you to be in. It's kind of like you hear the term misinformation, non-well informed, fake news. In the information bubble. Why? You're very selective about your own information bubble. You're very selective. Not everyone likes to hear something that is extreme out of their ideology, edict, or rhetoric that counters their ideology, edict, or rhetoric. So they want to stay in their own bubble, but they look for more assignment for them, something to assign them stronger to that bubble. Keep them there. The extreme view, it's now normalized. You're in the bubble. You're in the bubble of radicalization. It's normal for you. It's been reinforced. It's been amplified without any counter narrative, because those that are in charge of the echo chamber bubble have blocked out the counter narrative. Radicalization. Radicalization. I don't have a problem. I don't need your help. Because the guys and the girls I go out doing drugs with and drink with and do this with and do that with and violate the rules of the religion and violate the rules of society say, don't listen to them. They're just fuddy-duddies. They're not up with the times. They're not in the group. They're not in the cliques. Yep. That's the anonymity factor. Yes. The online disinhibition. Well, inhibition, so to say, allows people to explore radical ideas. Inhibition, the disinhibition, without immediate social consequences, good or bad. I'm going to explore this. I'm going to penetrate the bubble. I'm going to find somebody that sees things the way I do. Then it turns into the aspect of, now that you've penetrated the bubble, the lack of inhibition, the disinhibition, the anomaly factor is gone, the anonymity of you. Now it's a speed factor. How fast did one recognize you when you penetrated the bubble? How fast does one recognize somebody that penetrates the bubble? The radicalization is easy. A week, a month, a year, who knows? There's time as long as we keep you in the bubble. Yes. It's kind of like the involvement of terrorist activities in Russia. Yes. Yeah, the RUDN, Russian UDN, the doctrine. Did you know in Russia, the Journal of Psychology and Pedagogonics, and if you're in the United States, Pedagogics, GICS. What is that? Psychology in that? It's psychology in the science of teaching art. Yeah, focusing on systematic study of education, instrumental methods. There's why the left side, right side, the artsy-fartsy, the critical thinking, the temporal side of the frontal lobe, the amygdala inside that's being affected by the temporal sides, the seventh, the eighth nerve of the brain. All of these great mediological things. Some people overseas have recognized that. But in the U.S., it's us versus them. Overseas in other countries, it's them versus us, the us versus them mentality. Cognitive simplification, the terrorist ideology. You can simplify it, or at least you think you can, but you can't. Because the majority of you watching this show or that will watch this show, you've been radicalized. I just turned it on CJTV. It sounds like a bunch of research and a bunch of jargon that's at an educational university level. I don't want to watch that. I want to go watch something that's going to hit the dopamine. I want to watch the bombs, the violence, the presidential arguments, the congressional arguments. Guess what? It's going to be there tomorrow. Left wing, right wing, Republican, Democrat, two wings on a dirty bird. You can argue good and bad in all of it. You can argue good and bad in all religion. You can argue good, bad, all races, all ages, all genders. Cognitive simplification. What's easy? The terrorist ideology relies on black and white thinking, just like you do. Those of you watching this show, I can't track with it. I'm going to change it. I'm going to go to another Rumble channel. Simplification for you. That's what it is. It divides the world into pure good, us, versus pure evil, them. It's kind of like being asked, would you marry for love and intimacy and sex, or would you marry for financial stability? Would you be poor, broke, and in a trailer, no clothes, no job? She's drop dead gorgeous. He's drop dead gorgeous, but no money, broke. Don't even have a car that runs, or are you going to want to marry for that lifestyle? Yeah. It's kind of like the kid in New York that threw the ID. Wasn't hurting for anything. Why would you do something that's stupid? The role of trauma, that's why. The role of trauma, personal or collective trauma, humiliation, the perceived injustice that fuels the binary worldview. The injustice. Look at the U.S., they bombed us. Look at them, they bombed the U.S. The perceived injustice. Who's the victim? Who's the one being tormented? Who are the victims? Who are the ones that are being eradicated? Who are the ones that are claiming? All it is to pull someone into the bubble. It's like the church. Israel, the Jewish people, everybody in Israel, God's chosen people. How many of you have been to Israel and had true conversations? First time I ever got shot at was on the West Bank on a moped. Yeah, a moped. I got shot at on a moped on the West Bank. When I was younger, long time ago. First time I ever got shot at, I was on a daggone moped, a Vespa. I rented it. Thought it was something cool, but that second, yeah, that was enough to tell me right there, drop the hammer. And trust me, it went 1 mile an hour faster? Yeah. Where you're at. Historical venue. The communal us versus them. It's one of those things you have to research. One of those things you have to actually talk to the people about. The role of trauma, the collective, the trauma, the humiliation, the felt capitalization of the fueled injustice. That is the binary window. Who's wrong and who's right? You're not going to answer that. Government is not going to answer that. Politics is not going to answer that. A missile's not going to answer that. You're not going to answer that. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm 100% pro-military. I'm 100% pro-police. I'm 100% pro-gun. Own one of all of them. Have safes full of ammo. Get training for the intent and use of the platform or the weapon according to the manufacturer's intent for use. Be responsible. Be an adult. Retention. If you want to be the police, earn it. You want to be LGBT and join the military? It's not a social experiment. You want to be LGBT and work for your people, work for the LGBT and better the community? Go into law enforcement. Yeah, I said it. Cops, police. But trust me, I've been there with law enforcement. It didn't want to go in the gay bar. I went in. I had a great time. Sure did. Got treated like a king, man. Even got information on the person I was looking for. Didn't have to buy anything. Yep. Even got numbers too. Yes, I got phone numbers and shared my number. Why? Information sources. Period. Now somebody's going to watch this and say, look, he said it. No. No. It's called getting outside of your fused bubble. Individuals learn to reframe violence as necessary. Sure do. Heroic, the morality, the martyr justified through ideological conditioning. How many of you want to go die for something extreme? Think about this. There's got to be a reason. Why did you seek that end? Why did you seek martyrdom? Why is that now okay with you? The radicalization of you. Someone found what you didn't have that community missed. Your family missed it. De-radicalization is now hard. This is thinking pattern-wise. This is thinking pattern because deeply embedded in the identity of the world viewer, the single person, or the worldview itself. It's challenging. It feels like a existential threat. We don't need to de-radicalize someone. We need to get rid of them. It's hard. It takes too much. It's harder to de-radicalize than it is to radicalize. It's harder to unfuse. It's harder to pull out of the bubble than it is to fuse or get into the bubble. Think about alcoholics. Think about your drugs. Think about your porn addiction. Think about your speeding habit. Think about your addiction of the cell phone when you're driving the car and everybody's seeing you drive like a dum-dum, seeing you possibly cause accidents, and you can't. It's hard. You can't de-radicalize that person. Well, it's been pretty successful in other countries. We'll talk about 2 countries before we close this out. Look at that. We've been here for an hour. Chats are kind of slow. Somebody give me a chat in one of these things. Let me know it's active. Because I'm sitting here watching. We're streaming good, but I don't know if the chats are working good. And we're good on GPU and CPU run. We're on X, Rumble, YouTube, and we're launching out and forwarding out through Facebook on all 3 of those. So we're not doing Kick tonight. Doing some other stuff with Kick later. Let's move on. we'll go ahead and cover the programs, and then we'll close this puppy out. So that way you can hear the identity of countries that have successfully done something. And guys, we're not talking about the extreme things you're hearing about in the media, okay? Terrorists with Kalashnikovs. And terrorism comes in many forms. Many forms. Cults. Abuse. Many forms. It doesn't just have to be what you see on TV. It's conformity through fear. Conformity through violence. Anybody know a person that's violent? The offender of domestic violence, to get the family to conform through fear, psychological. Yeah. It's inner household conditioned terrorism. The modern de-radicalization programs. Let's cover 2 of these. Then we'll close this out with a few more things. Saudi Arabia, the luxury or legit model, so to say. The Mohammed bin Naif program, okay? It's a counseling and care center, Saudi Arabia, for former militants. Luxury accommodations, guys. Luxury. It's like the Trump Taj Mahal. Luxury, food, comfort, clothes. Religious counseling, psychological therapy, art. Yes, job training. The post-release financial support. Yeah, we'll pay for this, we'll pay for that. Sounds like westernization, doesn't it? Someone that's radicalized from another country, a third world country, comes over here with nothing, and then suddenly they're westernized to the things that they can have, and now suddenly the fusion's breaking, the bubble is starting to fail, and they leave the bubble because they don't want to. Jihad. Now they see now there's an alternative to this in the world. I've made friends. I'm culturalized in a community of my own people who've taught me there's something good here. Luxury or legit. Saudi Arabia, the Mohammed bin Naif program. The controversy. Critics. It's a terrorist rehab center. Well, what do you think our federal prisons are? Come on now. Who's Snoop Dogg's best friend? The Cook, the TV show, who's got her own stuff back again. You think she went to a hardcore prison? Federal prison. Yep. The critics are questioning whether it's comfortable conditions versus a reward for violence. Oh, no, it's comfortable conditions that are the reward for violence. Supporters, dignity, the essential genuine transformation to convince somebody that this doesn't have to be you. You can have this too. You've just got to have self-esteem, self-worth, self-reliance, self-resilience. Things that communities sometimes miss, even in the United States. How many times have you seen a mentally ill person or a person on the side of the road that was truly homeless, truly mentally ill, and you just drove on by? I used to buy those people lunch. Yes, I did. Some of my supervisors were really unhappy about that. Why are you taking time to go buy those? You should be out doing this and doing that, doing your job. You're an investigator. Great. Maybe I'm taking a preventative action so I don't have to investigate a dead body behind a Wendy's. I'll buy him my Wendy's burger and a milkshake and some fries. I won't give him any money, but I'll give him something to eat. At least I'll sustain him for a day or two. Now I know I don't have to go work a dead body somewhere. Thanks, Lieutenant. They didn't like those answers. I was that guy. The mixed results, I wouldn't be surprised, because there's not a lot out about that, Mohammed bin, facility in Saudi Arabia. Statistically, if people went back to terrorism or if they successfully, succeeded out of it and become advocates for anti-terrorism, regenerated back into society, not a lot out there. Not a lot about the calls to, but there's a lot of critic stuff. And the last one, Indonesia. All right. And this is all research-based, guys. This is not crap I'm making up to put it out there. But terrorism exists, but it exists in more forms than what you're seeing on TV. Indonesia, the world's largest Muslim democracy. Yes, the Muslim democracy with significant terrorism and terroristic challenges. Indonesia has developed according to research, a sophisticated contextual appropriated approach, so to say. It's the 3-pillar approach for terrorism, regardless of what it is, terrorism. Religious re-education, providing theological counter-narratives to extreme interpretations. Yes. It kind of goes back to what I said at the beginning of the show. How many of you have really read a true Quran? How many of you have been to Israel and talked to the people there? Israel is not what everybody thinks. It's all Israeli. It's all Hebrew. No, it's not. It's kind of like going to Mexico and thinking everybody there is Mexico. Who's been to Mexico City? Anybody here? Raise your internet virtual hand. The vast numeric number of Russians in Mexico City outweigh Mexican citizens. Ask anybody that's from Mexico City. More Russians in specific areas of Mexico City than there are Mexicans. So, the extremist narrative, the re-education. A real imam. Yes, a real imam, a real pastor, a real clinician of religion. Not just an extremist that has their singular interpretation. It's kind of like saying Jesus was transgender. I heard that through, I'm not even going to get into that. That's religious, but you got, some of you know who and what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. Psychological counseling and the 3-pillar approach. Addressing trauma, identity, emotional needs. Oh my gosh, look at that. We're going back to what Dr. Mike G said. Tell me what happened. Now emotions being interjected, the identity, the trauma, the counseling. Why did you fall prey to this? Why did someone recognize you as a easy victim to radicalize? Yes, I said easy victim to radicalize because not all terrorists are mentally crazy goo-goo psychopaths. They're not. They're not. Does a crazy man build a bomb? Or does somebody have some engineering, some tetrahedron, some ballistic knowledge, able to interpret, able to engineer tetrahedron ballistic principles? That's not an insane lunatic. That's somebody with a moderate to high level of intelligence. Family involvement. Yep. The recognition that terrorists do not exist in isolation. No, they don't. Terrorists do not exist in singular isolation. Now, one would say, but you had that show about the lone wolf the other night. It still applies with the lone wolf because you have your bubble. You have your extreme ideology that you believe in, and you listen to others, that virtual you. You're not going to slap yourself in the hand to get outside of the bubble or break the vortex vacuum. No, you're not. Somebody else is going to have to come do it for you. The religious element. Former terrorists often have genuine and or misguided religious beliefs. Or convictions. That's just the end. Done over. It's kind of like Christianity, Protestant, Catholicism, Buddhism. Using a simple verse to sway. Using a simple word. It's kind of like everybody loves the Art of War. The book, Kung Fu Art of War. Yeah. He was a poet. They're poems. He was a poet. Everybody thinks Hitler was a hateful Nazi. Good evening, crayons. Everybody thinks Hitler was just an evil genius. Hitler started out as a painter, a poet. He was able to speak. He was able to influence. He was able to use words, transition, flow, attract the crowds. Yes, that was Hitler. Do your own history look. Do your own history search. It's easy to manipulate the words of convictions to get weak, traumatized, injured, low self-esteem. Yep, the effective rehabilitation requires credible, rigorous religious authority, research offering alternative interpretation, not the words of one. Think of Joel Osteen. God wants you to be rich. God wants you to be financially secure. God wants you to be this. God, what? Okay, Joel. Weren't you the one that had an attempted active shooter event? Not once, not twice, but 3 times. Somebody doesn't agree with your version. It's out there. You can't hide from it. You can't run from it. There's always manipulation in the narrative. Some would say there's manipulation here. Of course there is. Here's the manipulation. This is not a substitute for a classroom. Go to a university. Get to a school. Thus the pre-commercial we had for UT and the CJ answer in the Zoom address. Now people are saying, look at that. He's doing advertisement. No, I'm not. It's predominantly known if you research me and all of the researchers for this show. get it created and vetted.